Operation Confidence proudly presents America's Invisible Heroes radio talk show. Tune in weekly on Sundays from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Pacific time with your host, Consuela Mackey, co-host, U.S. Air Force veteran Matt Davidson, announcer Taylor Marcella, U.S. Army veteran and Strategies for Hope segment host Dr. Kathy Cash, U.S. Army Reserve veteran and entertainment segment host Charles Whitehead, U.S. Army Special Forces veteran and I Once Was Whole segment host Richard Cook, U.S. Army veteran and Lifeline for Women's Veterans segment host Martha Elena Varela, National Faith Director, Chaplain, and Veterans in Recovery segment host Anthony Akampora, and U.S. Air Force veteran and Incarcerated to Success segment host Kevin Lewandowski. For more information or to be a guest on our show, email info@operationconfidence.org.
Operation Confidence is a grassroots nonprofit. The organization's mission is to provide stable housing for veterans who have experienced homelessness, as well as providing a wide range of supportive services. To help accomplish our goal, a successful landowner has donated land for the project, a world-renowned architect has offered to design the houses, and construction classes from the local community colleges will take part in building the houses. Your support and donations are needed. To get involved, please visit our website at www.operationconfidence.org or email info@operationconfidence.com.
Okay, well, welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in to America's Invisible Heroes, the show dedicated to our veterans and their families. Yes, I'm your host, Consuela Mackey, Executive Director of a grassroots nonprofit organization called Operation Confidence. Oh, I'm not a veteran, but my heart goes out to our American heroes, especially veterans who have a disability and may have been experiencing homelessness. For those who are new to the show, American Invisible Heroes was established to create a platform for our veterans to share their heartfelt stories, resources, experiences, and accomplishments. Now, allow me to introduce you to our co-hosts for today. We have U.S. Army Reserve veteran Charles Whitehead, who's also a board member. We have Taylor Marcella, she's a board member and our announcer. Dr. Kathy Cash, has a bi-monthly segment called Strategies for Hope. And then we have Monique, she has a bi-monthly segment called the Rosies Movie. Before I have anyone to start waving, I want to Operation Confidence and our American Invisible Heroes team would like to honor the Hispanic Heritage Month that's ended October the 15th, and all our friends who celebrated Yom Kippur. And that began Wednesday, October the 4th, and ended on October the 5th. So take it away there. See if we'll give a wave to everyone, let everyone know who you are, and take it away with you, Ann.
All right.
Good. I didn't know it was going to be first. Actually, I'm counting on Charles here to bring up some good photos for you. I mentioned last week that we are naming the first schoolrooms in America the Rosie Room, and we have a wonderful small. It's the smallest school in West Virginia, and West Virginia is a low population state. It's a wonderful school, high school. It's going to name 2 rooms for Rosie, the Riveters, on Wednesday. Now, the important thing is that we already have lined up Utah, North Carolina, Kentucky, and other states that are going to be doing the same thing. So I'm counting on trying to find somebody in the Los Angeles area that will find a school for us and help us get a schoolroom named for Rosie the Riveters out there in LA. What's happening on Wednesday is that we will have Girl Scouts during the show of colors, and we will have the little girl who rang the first bell for Rosie's when she was probably 7, and now she's 14, and that picture of her was inserted into a piece of artwork done by the Freedom Museum in the Netherlands. And so we have artwork that will be in 2 schoolrooms that will essentially be with allied nations and Americans working together. So we're real proud of that. The thing that you might want to show here, if you can pull it up there, Charles, is why don't you show the video of Vicki Wilkins, who's the Dean of Public Policy at American University. Can you pull it up?
Yes, let me do that real quick. I'm gonna close this.
While he's pulling that up, I'll say that they hosted us on August 15th at American University to have the first Rosies Summit. So people around the country that are really interested in making sure that these women are properly recognized and that people do projects to keep their memory alive. So Vicki is the person who set that up for us.
Okay. And her affiliation with your
inspiration from the Rose.
Oh, here's a video. Okay.
Right.
Hi, I'm Vicki Wilkins, Dean of the School of Public Affairs at American University. I'm so lucky that every day my job involves making sure that our students, graduate and undergraduate, know the important role that they play in protecting our democracy. We were lucky enough to recently host the Rosie the Riveter Summit, where we saw people from across America come together. They came together not only to learn about the history and remember it, but to use that example, the great example of the Rosies, to move forward in community, to protect our freedom and do great high quality work. I'm proud of you as a school for being the first to name a classroom after the Rosies and dedicate it for them. It's going to be a great example to your students and your community about how you understand the importance of working together and taking and learning from the great sacrifices from those that came before us. I know myself, I feel great gratitude and inspiration from the Rosies. I'm grateful because they paved the way for me to be in a role like this, and I'm inspired every day by their example and how I can be part of that and make sure that they are remembered and the work continues on in their honor. So congratulations again. Thank you for all you're doing, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there to be in person. Thank you.
The great video.
Isn't that great?
Congratulations.
Now this is a sort of, I guess I would say friendship. I want to say more than partnership. I really think that when people connect, we're going to have a movement. So isn't she a personable person?
Oh, she's precious.
She's precious. And to think that she's dean of a major university school of public affairs. So they teach people to do work with government, right? Then we have another video coming that will be from the Netherlands. It would be a man whose English is not perfect, but he's extremely sincere. And he heads the Freedom Museum in Nijmegen, Netherlands. And his name is Dr. Veel Linders. And he basically is making a short statement like that about how he wants to see his schoolrooms across America named for Rosies, and that they will essentially be very open to any suggestions that we make so that they can be involved. So we're doing it, folks, and we're really counting on this group. I really care about this group, and I think you care about the Rosies. I know you do.
Right.
So
We do.
we're going to have to try to figure out a way to spotlight what you all are doing as well. We're working on it.
Well, you know you're our girl now, so we're excited to have you on board.
Your Rosie room, where did it go?
Okay, you're going to pull up the program for the day, yeah.
You want me to pull up the program?
Yeah, if you can, yeah. Why don't you do that? I know.
Let's see.
Oh, it won't take but a couple, 3 minutes here and more.
Okay, I was gonna show you the Rosie room, but for whatever reason.
Okay, can't do it. Whatever you pull up, we'll talk about.
Okay. The program. Okay, so that's one that the email with the flyer, right?
Right.
Okay, give me a second. I'll
the program has the woman with the old fashioned Rosie the Riveter with it.
Right.
Another thing that's happening that day is we had a woman on our board for many years who was a Rosie. She couldn't wait because her birthday's the same day that we have this naming of the schoolroom. But unfortunately, she died 2.5 months ago.
Oh,
She made me promise in my last conversation with her, she died on a Friday, and I talked with her on Wednesday. And she said, you know, if something happens to me, I'll show my video and tell people that my last wish is for people to pull together in America again.
well, we're just so honored to have you and the Rosies on the show bi-monthly. And I always like to tell our viewers and our listeners that you've had many other Rosies on the show, and those are some of the most phenomenal women ever.
They are.
Know they're from, what is that? They know from when they first enlisted to what the jobs were. I mean, we're talking, what, 50, 60 years ago. And they're just amazing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Actually, it's the anniversary, let's see, is it 75 years coming up? So it was 70 years ago that they started.
okay. Well, time flies. But,
Yeah,
you know,
time flies.
some of them are still around and continually making some contributions. And like I said, they have just some funny humor and very knowledgeable too. They understand and remember the date, the time, when it happened, what year. I mean, it's amazing.
And they will also tell you something that I think is very important, and that is that they really didn't know that we could win the war. And they were so worried that we wouldn't win the war. And of course, many of them lost boyfriends and husbands and sons and fathers and all that. So
Wow.
it's not always just a happy story, for sure.
Well, we want to thank you, and you may be coming back with one of the Rosies.
Oh yeah, for sure. The other thing is on that program, are you able to pull up the program,
Is
Charles?
that the one with the Wibbage gold, the warmth of the sun? Is it? No.
It's well, I just want to tell people that if you want to come in, and now we're talking about 1 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday.
Oh, you're talking about okay, let me.
And that's 10 o'clock your all's time on Wednesday. Then you can be present while we have the presentation to name the schoolrooms. And
That's going to be great.
that's when Vicki will be speaking, and the fellow from the Netherlands and so forth.
Oh,
Wow.
so I'm not looking for a video of someone speaking. You want me to pull up the
Just the program, yeah.
Okay, so just the okay.
Flyer.
Not the flyer as well.
Whatever has in case you all want to come in, it's a team.
Information. Okay, I'm gonna show you.
Teams. It's a Teams instead of the Zoom.
Right. Okay, here we go. In that case. This is what you want to see, right?
No, that's not exactly it, but that's all right. That's good enough. I'm not sure that the Teams email is on there. So just take that out and we'll work with it another way.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to come in on 10 o'clock your time on Wednesday of this week, then tell me in chat or send an email to me at TEAM at American Rosie, ROSIE movement, MOVEMENT.org, or put your number in chat and I'll send you over the link to the team meeting.
Okay, that's great.
The schools have Teams and not Zoom, so that's why we are not doing Zoom.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations. That's one big giant step
It's a
you've
big
made.
step, and,
Rosies.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got one school that telling us they've already done it and we're not the first and all that. But you know, there's always arguments. We'll get through it, but we're gonna do a whole series of these around the country.
I can imagine. I bet the board is excited, huh?
Yeah, everybody is, honestly.
Yeah.
I just wish you could have seen these sixth graders on day before yesterday.
Oh,
Precious. That's the one we wanted. The really important thing here is that we have an hour at the first of the day from 1 to about maybe 2:50 to have all the people I just talked about. Then in the middle part of the day, they're going to have the actual hanging of the beautiful artwork, really, in the schoolroom. And at the end of the day, we'll have a live Rosie from Philadelphia talking to sixth graders. So, of course, I love kids, so I'm just pleased as punch to have sixth graders involved and high school students and all that. It's great.
They'll remember this all their lives.
They will remember. I really hope they will remember. Yes, that's right.
And you speaking at 10 after 1.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. We're going to definitely try to sign on.
So why don't I send you over the link, Consuela, and maybe you can CC it.
Yeah, that'd be better. Yeah,
that's an easy way to do it.
And we can put it on the website too. On our website and on our Facebook page.
And and we need to mention where it's at for our radio listeners.
Yeah, please say that.
So it's in Gilmer County High School, which is a small town called Glenville, West Virginia.
Repeat that. You just ran right over that. I didn't even hear what you said. What's high school?
Gilmer, Gilmer County High School in Glenville, West Virginia. We chose it not only because it's small and we want to prove that people don't have to be doing grand things to make a difference, but also because they have already put in a park in their little small town to honor the Rosies, and they were the first to ring the bell for the Rosies. So at the end of the day, when the project is completed, we will ring the bells for Rosies. And the little girl who was maybe 7 who rang the bell is now 14, and she will be featured along with the the naval captain who brought the bell in that day. When we planted a dogwood tree, and it was raining so hard that the Rosie couldn't get outside, so they rang a bell, and that started the national movement to ring a bell for Rosies every time we do a project and on Labor Day.
So Ruth is going to be there as representing the Rosies, the Rivers, huh?
Ruth Edwards. June Robbins. Ruth is the one who died.
Wow, I see her name on here.
Yeah, Ruth died 2.5 months ago. And incredibly, and we did not plan it this way, this event is either on her birthday or a day before. We're trying to figure that out. But essentially, it would have been her 100th birthday.
Oh, wow. Well, we remember her on the show. She was so sweet.
Oh, she's wonderful, wonderful person. She inspired me for sure.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations again. And
thank you so much. I just appreciate you all so much more than you probably realize.
No, we appreciate and love you too. You're doing some wonderful work.
What they're going to be.
Here, isn't that beautiful? That's going to be above the room, the Rosie room.
Nice.
And the kids, the kids chose the wording and all kinds of things, but they didn't want it to be the Rosie the Riveter room because most of the women were not riveters. So they just called it the Rosie room. And that's 18 inches by, I'm not sure, maybe 6 or something. But it's going over a 6th grade room and 11th grade room.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful.
Rosie.
You got it cut off, the room cut off.
No, that's the way it is. That's the.
Oh, that's how it came out.
Yes, that's the flyer, the banner. It's a banner.
It's a banner. It's actually the name of the door. It's on PVC, and it will be permanently anchored above the door to the rooms.
Yeah, so cool. You're going to get a lot of publicity for that, too.
I hope so. You can't get the media to come in central Pennsylvania. I mean, it's 4 hours from Pittsburgh and 3.5 hours from Lexington, Kentucky. Maybe it's more like 5 hours from Lexington. So we're in the boondocks. There's no doubt about it.
Well, that's okay. It's still going to get out.
We do it anyway, right?
There you go. We're going to put it on our website too. So.
I'm not a flashy person, so I just have a secret, almost like a triumph when somebody who's not been noticed does the right thing. I always think of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you know. So he was distorted, right? He was whatever you want to call it with a big red nose, right? It didn't matter. He led the pack, right?
That's right.
So,
He was the leader, regardless, huh?
That's it.
So, yeah.
That's cute. Well,
So I
thank you so
consider
much.
your group something like that. You know, you don't have lots of money. You certainly don't have national presence as yet, but we're working on that. We'll make sure you get the national presence for
Well,
who you are, not because of who you know.
thank you so much. That's
Yes.
so sweet.
Thanks, Phil.
Okay, well, stay around though, because we want you to.
I will.
Okay. All right. So let me see. Dr. Cash. Taylor, you gonna give a little intro to Dr. Cash, although she needs none, but still for our listeners, Radio Land listeners out there.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Kathy Cash is a United States Army veteran, pastor, teacher, and ministry coach with over 30 years experience and demonstrated history of working with ministries and pastors in Southern California and around the country. Skilled in peer support services, coaching, and instructing peers in professional development and crisis intervention. National public speaker and webinar presenter with an emphasis on peer supporting others by instilling hope. Certified as a wellness recovery action plan facilitator and peer support group facilitator, she possesses high-level skills to educate peers and supporting others to achieve and maintain wellness in the community. Today, Dr. Cash will share information about what is a peer supporter, the value of peer supporting in the life of a veteran, and Global Peer Support Celebration Day on October the 20th. Welcome, Dr. Cash. But before you start, could you, what is it?
Let's in a prayer.
Yes, in a prayer, and pray for Charles' mother.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
Most certainly will. Most certainly will. Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, how we say thank you for the opportunity to gather today to share information. Well, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our veterans, the opportunity to serve those who are active duty military, for they've given their lives as a sacrifice so that we all can enjoy freedom. And then, Lord, we just ask your blessings upon Operation Confidence as a whole, for they are endeavoring to resolve one of the most, the worst kind of conditions that any veteran can have, and that is homelessness. So as they are going through their efforts to decrease that problem, Lord, we just ask that you find favor, open the doors, and allow them to do what it is that the vision that you have given them, such that they would accomplish their task, because they're doing it in your name. And then, Lord, we just lift up Charles' mother to you. You know her situation, you know her body, you know what's going on with her, for you created her. She was created with a purpose. And we just ask that you comfort her. We ask that you comfort Charles' siblings and other family members as they rally around his mother. But Lord, we know that you will give us that peace that passeth all understanding. You will give that comfort as you are comforting his mother. And we just ask, Lord, that you anoint the hands, touch the hands of the medical staff that will be touching his mother's body. Lord, she's special. And we thank you, Lord, for allowing her to be a part of our lives through her son, Charles. We just ask you continue to keep us individually and collectively. In the mighty master's name of your son, we pray. Amen, amen, amen.
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 Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Amen.
So tell us about peer counseling.
So a peer support specialist, excuse me, a peer support specialist is a person when we start off in a global sense, is someone with a problem, someone with a situation who is sharing their help with someone else. In other words, I've been through something, so now I'm going to share how I got through it with someone else who's going through it. When we look at our veteran population, so many of our veterans are dealing with homelessness, they're dealing with mental health issues, they're dealing with substance use issues. And there's so many veterans who have taken the journey to start their path to recovery so that they're getting through those obstacles. So those are the prime candidates to be peer specialists because they're able to share with someone else how they got over. What did you do to get through what you're going through? Oftentimes, when you go through something or when you're going through something, you think you're the only one because you're not thinking about everybody. No, I'm going through this. I'm gonna have my pity party all by myself. Nobody cares about me. Nobody knows what I'm going through. You don't understand. That's what happens when we're going through something. But then a peer specialist comes along and says, I understand. I understand. Because remember when you told me you were doing X, Y, and Z, I did that too. And you said you did this and this, I did that too. When you were homeless down on Skid Row, well, I was on the other side of the street. I was homeless too. And look at me now. So that's the value of peer specialists or peer supporters, is we take our lived experience and we share it with those who are looking for a way out. In the VA, it started out as a volunteer position, but it's now a regular job. It is a paid position. It's still fairly new in the VA, so a lot of clinicians are still trying to kind of wrap their minds around someone who was a former addict, who is now sharing their experience and telling somebody else about their addictions. When someone is an addict, they have behaviors. And if you're not familiar with those behaviors, then not that you can't help, but your help is not that lived experience. If you have never eaten out of a trash can, if you have never had to figure out what am I going to do for my babies, if you've never had to figure out where am I going to park my car tonight so that nobody breaks in my window because I need to sleep so I can get up and go to work tomorrow, or at least go look for a job. If you've never lived through that, then telling someone else that it's going to be all right doesn't hold any water. You can say it's going to be all right because that happened to me. I did this, I did that, and now I was able to go get help. I was able to get support from someplace, and now look at me.
Right.
And that is the value of the peer specialist. And again, it's not just relegated to the VA or to veterans. Peer support has been around for forever. Has been around forever. The veteran community is kind of just now figuring out that it's something good. A peer supporter, when we talk about what a peer supporter does, peer supporter will facilitate groups. Because once again, if you're going through something and you are sitting in an office, you're wearing tattered clothes, you have holes in your shoes, you haven't eaten in 2 days, and you're sitting across from someone who has a Mercedes key emblem on their desk, they have on a starched white shirt. You can see where they had eaten breakfast and lunch. You're sitting in that office and you're kind of like, you know what, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. You can't feel what I'm feeling.
Right.
That's the value of a group. When you're sitting in a group, you see others who you can relate to, and then the group comes up with solutions so that they can all rise together. They support one another. If you're having challenges taking your medication, well, maybe I have a method that works for me, and I can share with you the method that I use. And different people in the group will share their methods. Where do you go to get resources? That's one of the greatest issues that veterans have, is not knowing where to get the resources, knowing what benefits you have. Right. So in the group, that's what we do. We talk about, where do you get your benefits? Who do you go and see? Well, I went to see this service officer and they didn't do anything for me. Okay, let me tell you this. Don't go there, go over here. Go to Patriotic Hall. And when you go to Patriotic Hall, ask for this person. When veterans tell each other information, that causes the community to grow because we're sharing that information so that we all come up together. As peer supporters, we share our recovery stories. We share our recovery experiences. And recovery is the journey that I take from where I was to where I want to be. Coming out of the military, for me, when I got out, I was told I wasn't a veteran. I served during non-combat time. So first, because I was a woman, I wasn't expected to be in combat anyway. So I was a woman, didn't do combat. So I was told I wasn't a veteran. So when you go and authority tells you you're not it, we can't help you, what do? You turn around and go. I'm done. I'll make it happen. And then I met another veteran, a friend of mine actually, who I went to school with. He served the same time I served. He was an Army veteran. He was a Marine veteran. And he did not see combat, but he was getting all his services through the VA. And my favorite part is he told me in some very colorful language to get to the VA because I am a veteran.
Right.
And as they
That's
say,
right.
the rest is history. And so that's what one of my passions is. I continually go after the women veterans and let them know that you have benefits, you have services.
Right.
Sometimes people think, well, I didn't have an amputation, so they can't do anything for me. You know, I'm still walking, I'm still able to do. If you serve, you have access to benefits. And hearing that from another veteran is a way that you will find out how to get what is due you. We are role models of recovery because we show how we've grown from where we were. That's because we tell our stories from where we were to where we are now. When we talk about being homeless, sleeping in a vehicle, trying to figure out how you're going to feed your children. Those are stories that we share, not to glorify the story, but to say, this is how I overcame. I found somebody who was going through the same thing I was going through, and they showed me how to get the benefits and get the things that I needed. We also communicate with the clinical staff because as veterans in the military, we're essentially told, do this, boom, and that's it. We don't have, we have in our mind that you're going to tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. I'm asking no questions. But now, in the civilian world, you're in charge of your life. At the medical center, the focus is on patient-centered care. So you can speak up. So oftentimes a peer specialist would accompany a veteran to a medical appointment. And when the doctor gives him instructions, the peer is there to ask, do you understand what was said? Because sometimes you walk away from the doctor and you don't know what they said.
Right.
You don't know what, you got 5 bottles of pills and you got a list of appointments and you don't know what to do next.
Right.
But we we support the veteran in their appointment so that they know that they can ask questions because they're the expert on themselves. It's their body, it's their health. So we are there as peer specialists to support them in their medical journey. So everything about the veteran as a peer, we've been through similar experiences. It may not be the same thing, but we've been through similar experiences. So we help them to navigate through those systems. Now, what a peer support, what we don't do psychotherapy. We're not clinicians, we're not therapists. That's not what we do. We don't gang up with the veterans against the staff. We're not trying to make a difficult situation. We're trying to make sure that the veteran understands what's going on with him or her. We don't cross boundaries because as a peer supporter, we're there to do that just to support. In order for support to happen, the veteran has to start. The veteran has to do something, and then the peer comes along and supports what the veteran is doing. So what we as peer supporters do is, I call this is our own special group. People want to say, were you a social worker? I'm better than a social worker.
Right
Nothing
now.
against social workers, but I'm better than a social worker.
Right.
I love me some social workers,
Yeah,
but I'm
nothing.
better than a social worker.
Yeah, because you've been there, done that. You
Been
know?
there, done that. I can tell the veteran what's going on.
Right.
And I can say, you know what? I know that you're going through that. And when I went through it, not what the book says, not what I heard, but I can say when I went through it.
Right.
And then I can role model, because I'm developing that relationship. I'm getting the veteran to trust me, so that when I say something, as I'm supporting the veteran knows that I'm working with him or her, not against them.
Right.
And it's not my agenda, it's their agenda. Whatever you want to do, I'm supporting you. If you want to get a job, I'm not going to say, well, you know what, you've been incarcerated, you can't work, you don't have any skills, you don't have a high school diploma. My job is not to tear you down.
Right.
My job is to help you, support you to get what you want. You say, I want to get a job. All right. What do you want to do? We start looking at resources. If you say, I want to fly to the moon, my response is not, nobody can do that. That's crazy. No. My response is, what's the first thing you need to do?
Right.
You get rocket fuel. Okay, let's go see if we can find some rocket fuel. And then as we're on this journey to find these things, to do these things, then you are making a decision if going to the moon is what you want to do, or maybe you just be okay going to the observatory. But whatever it is, you made the decision. And I'm there to support you. So that's what we do as peer supporters. And one thing about peer support that I love, when I talk about that we're better than the social workers, that we are just like social work, just like all the other clinicians, we are evidence-based. We are evidence-based that peer support works. Because peer supporters engage with veterans in the grand scheme of things have less inpatient time. The hospitalization has been cut down because of interaction with peers. They've role modeled recovery. They've been there to talk to the veteran when, if they were about to relapse, they have somebody to talk to. If they relapse, they have someone to talk to, because we're talking non-judgmental. It's I'm there for you. I'm not there to wag the finger of shame at you. If you fall down, I help you get up. Right. Because watch this, I fell down too. And somebody came and helped me up.
I love it.
So our ethics allows us to share that, which is what a lot of other professions can't do. They can't share that they fell down. They can share what the book says, but they can't share their experience when they fell down. Miss Ann, you have a question?
I am so fascinated because that is one of the clearest and most to the point summaries I've ever heard, Kathy. I do have a question, and that is from my own personal experience and from trying to train veterans. I find that veterans or people with PTSD really are hesitant to be involved with others. They, basically, for example, veterans in this area, people at Walmart will tell you that the veterans with PTSD are the ones who are in the Walmart shops in the middle of the night because they don't want to be around other people. Do you have trouble getting people into the program, and how do you manage that awareness that you really are real and you're not a phony?
It happens with consistency. It happens with consistency.
That's good.
So, for example, if I meet a veteran and the veteran, well, I don't want to be bothered. Okay. I see the veteran again. How you doing? I invite the veteran to things. And it's just, I continue to talk to the veteran. Not being overbearing, not saying you got to do this, but sometimes people just want to see if you for real.
Yes,
Right.
that's right. I agree. I think that's a major problem. The
Yes.
people with the PhDs and the different
Yeah,
degrees,
they never lived it.
they've never lived it.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
not
they
only
also
that,
wanna let you
not
say,
only that, they want, speaking personally now, married to a clinical psychologist, and I'm permanently disabled because of him. His research was in reward and punishment. And I'm permanently disabled. And there were times, and still are times, that there are a lot of professionals I don't want to bother with because they haven't been there. And they have their own reputation to live up to, a number of publications or rules they have to follow or whatever. So I am very much in support of what you're saying and doing, Kathy. And I don't know how I can help you, but I can tell you that it makes sense to me.
Right.
does,
one
and you don't want to have professionals that talk down.
Right.
Oh, honestly,
Or
or label
that happens too.
you without even having the vaguest idea of,
There you go.
they don't even know what their label means, much less that they're doing harm to you by labeling you.
Mhm.
Right.
And for some
Right.
people, it's that kind of stuff is a job, and whereas other people are legitimately trying to help.
Right.
Right.
That's right,
And so,
Where the line crosses, you cross the line, that's so.
right.
yeah.
Dr. Cash, is there any way that you could have any of your success cases come on the show? Well, we need to hear from where they were, because the people that you have invited, I'm not saying that they didn't have any type of problem getting back into the community, but they've all praised you and what you've done for them. And we would like to expand that. Is there any kind of way we can have that a part of what we're doing on the show?
I can talk to some people just, don't want to talk about it.
Right.
Don't
Well,
wanna
they can
talk
come
about
on with they don't even have to show their face nor their name. Just have a rose up there on the screen, or a
I will
tree.
definitely,
You know?
I will
Change their
definitely reach
name.
out to some, because yes, people need to hear
Exactly.
that this happens.
Right.
I will talk to a person. One thing I find about with veterans, and this is not every veteran, but just through my experience, veterans want to be heard. When we go to a therapist, the therapist has a 50-minute hour.
Mhm.
So when you start your therapy session, you may come in feeling okay, and you start talking, you're talking about the weather, you're talking about the TV show, you're talking about the candy bar that you just had. And by the time you get to your trauma or your problem, you got 10 minutes left in your session.
Right.
And the psych says, okay, well, we'll make an appointment. I'll see you in 2 weeks. It's like,
Right.
but I got so much I need to say.
Right.
So a peer is a listener. And it goes back to what you're asking about, and when people want to go just because they don't want to be bothered, when they find that one person that they want to talk to, that person that will listen to them. Sometimes I have people who, in our first meeting, we sat and we talked, or they talked, and I listened for 3 hours because they had all of that to get off of them. And it wasn't asking me to fix it, because as peers, we're not fixers. I was not doing therapy because we are not therapists.
Right.
I was just listening. I was just listening and giving some hope. And then when we met the second time, the conversation was about 2 hours. And then we met the third time, fourth time, fifth time, it got down to about an hour, then about half an hour, and then they called me. So it's so much stuff that we have to get off of us because of the things that we've been through. And it's really hard when it's so regimented. So that's why I love the fact that we're having community peers, where they're community groups, where we call them coffee socials, where you have a place where veterans can meet certain days at certain times, and as groups, and they can talk. It's not regimented by anybody. They can sit and talk as long as they want or as short as they want. But they know that every week I can come to this spot because I got something going on with me, and I can come and talk to my friends because they understand.
Right.
So that's the value of those coffee groups. But I want to lastly share, because I know I'm about at the end, Global Peer Support Celebration Day. Peer specialists, we don't do this. One of the traits of a peer specialist is humility. We don't do this to wave a flag and say, oh, look what I did. Oh, look, I helped that person. I helped that person. I helped that person. Because for me, it was so funny. I was in a group the other day and the question came up, what did Kathy Cash do for you that you remember most about her as a peer? One of the veterans said, we were at an event and she taught me how to dance.
All right now.
Okay. The Cupid Shuffle came on. We were at an event. So this veteran wanted to learn how to do the Cupid Shuffle. So that's what he remembered about our interaction.
That's good.
You know? And so that's when we talk about what we do, it's just like the Bible talks about love. Love doesn't keep a record. You know, so this is what I love. This is my passion. I don't keep a record. I don't keep a scorecard. I'm here to support. And as I support you, when you're done, if you want me to leave, I'm out. If you want to leave me, you can leave.
Right.
But I do what I do.
Well, we're just so happy to have you on the team. We don't know what to do. I keep telling you that.
We want you to bring the person on that you taught on the moonwalk.
I'll see if he wants to come on.
And just put a moon up there. You don't have to.
yeah. Put a moonwalk. It's the moonwalk.
If you don't want to
guy
show
right
his
here.
face, you know, we can just do it like that. But no, you've been absolutely amazing.
Right.
And that information was just so touching. I hope it touched a lot of people out there that's listening.
It's real. It's real.
Yeah, it's real.
We're tired of the phonies, right?
Yeah, exactly. I am too. You can imagine how long I've been running into the phonies when I'm looking right at the veterans having trauma and nobody wants to do anything.
Yes.
But I really thank you so much.
But lastly, Thursday, Global Peer Support Celebration.
Yeah, right.
Day.
You have a flyer on that, anything?
How do they find out? You know,
I can send one to you.
Yeah. You know, and how do they find out about it? Where it's going to be? Can they contact you or what?
I will send you the information. You can put it on the website. It's global. It's all over. If you're on Facebook, you can search Global Peer Support Celebration Day. All over the country.
So how do you participate? Is it via Zoom or?
You can connect in Zoom. Different people are doing different things. I have a friend in Atlanta. His site is doing a virtual luncheon. In Dallas, Texas, the National Association of Peer Supporters is doing Global Peer Support Celebration Day. I'm one of the presenters doing a workshop on Thursday. So this is when you leave in town, huh? Yes.
Leaving? And where are you going?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. And how long are you going to be there?
I'll be there for 4 days.
Okay.
I'll be there for 4 days.
When are you going, Kathy? Tell us again when you're going.
I'm leaving on Tuesday the 18th. So Global Peer Support Celebration Day is the 20th. And the organization, again, is National Association of Peer Supporters.
Okay.
And they were one of the founding entities of Global Peer Support Celebration Day.
And it's not just veterans, am I right?
Correct. That is everyone. Peer support is in every entity.
It is.
Okay.
They have peers,
COVID,
caregivers.
Because of COVID and the economy, everybody's probably should be there. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so great.
But yes, that's peer support. Thank you so very much for this time. And I will definitely get some information to put on the website so people can connect with me, can connect with other organizations, and even start coffee groups in the community. Because for veterans need an opportunity to gather where they can talk about things that are going on and they can get the support that they need one from another.
And until you get that information, because it's going to take a minute for us to get it out there, can we ask them to at least send us their name and contact through info@operationconference.org?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Don't forget info at operationconference.org. We'll get it and pass it on to Dr. Cash, and by then we'll be able to have some additional information. We can't wait till you get back, girl. You're going to have some videos and some pictures and stuff to show us.
We hope to have a whole lot of great stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they get a new slogan and call it "Cash is on the way."
Yeah.
Maybe like, oh yeah, I remember her. That's Cash is on the way. See?
Yeah, that's so cute.
I'm gonna
Okay,
patent
well,
that, so I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Charles. I got you. Thank you.
Listen,
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Taylor, you're going to come on now, but can you please introduce Miss Martin, Sonja Martin first, and then come back with yours?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Sonja Martin is an assistant governor of the Rotary International District 6440 American Legion Post 145 Highland Park, junior vice commander American Legion Auxiliary Unit 145 Highland Park, and president Rotary Club of North Chicago from 2021 to 2022. Miss Sonja, or Sonja? Was Sonja, okay. Sonja was born in Chicago, Illinois, and raised in Henderson, Texas. Sonja attended college where she earned a degree in education and enlisted in the U.S. Army, serving from September 1987 until her retirement in June 2008. She was deployed and served in Saudi Arabia. Ooh, how do you say that? Mogadishu?
Mogadishu?
Somalia, and Iraq 3 tours. Sonja became an Illinois funeral director, embalmer, and continues to work and give back as a Rotarian. She has a focus on Rotary virtual reading and literacy programs that encourage the youth to help give children in the community a thirst for love and knowledge of reading. She is working towards creating a Veterans Rotary Club that will focus on veteran-specific needs, such as the North Chicago Public Library Literacy Program, partnership with the Rotary Club of North Chicago. They seek to reach the children of their community through reading programs, art programs, and by promoting and encouraging learning. There's reading rooms, fun days, and participants in their own community days where they provide a book bus and encourage all forms of learning. The reading program gives everyone an opportunity to video themselves reading a book, which is shown to the young people who visit the library. They want the kids to develop a healthy passion for reading and discovery. Sonja and her husband Christopher live in Highland Park, Illinois with their 3 children, Acacia, Elijah, and Christina. So Sonja, tell us more about the Rotary Youth Literacy Program.
Oh, it's me, or were we going back to her? I'm sorry.
You. You.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you all for having me. I'm having a wonderful time learning from each of you, and I'm just really, really appreciative. Thank you for inviting me.
We want this not your last time now. You're on the team. Once we get you over here, you can't go nowhere.
No, I look forward to coming back again.
And I want everyone to know that Angela invited you and told us about you too. Angela Walker, she's an amazing individual. Despite her using a wheelchair, she's doing everything. She's with the Rotary International, right?
Yes, she's also an assistant governor, and she's the chairperson for membership.
Right. Okay. Right.
She does a lot. She really does.
Yes,
you know,
she's
great.
Tell us more about you.
Again, like I said before, I served 21 years in the Army. I've lived in Germany, Korea, and I deployed numerous times. Somalia, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and I really, really enjoyed my time serving. I enjoyed giving back to the young soldiers who came up under me, that I was able to teach and help mold them into the leaders that they became. And also even when I joined the Army, I still had this thirst and quest to want to help children. And so each place I was deployed, in each place I lived, I always found a volunteer opportunity where I was able to help children. If it was one year, it was teaching Sunday school in Korea, so teaching Korean children and American children who were there accompanied. And,
do you speak Korean?
A very, very little.
Okay.
Very little. Enough to get by if I get into a sticky situation.
Okay.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
See?
How does she?
That's it.
Oh, listen to Charles. He don't know what the two words.
Come
That's all right. I know enough.
Come some
In Korea, I know how to get around,
Okay,
That's
there
it.
you go. That's so cute.
And the same with Germany. I was, because I was raised in the
Becky
church. So
George?
before I left, my grandmother made it a point saying, wherever you go, no matter where you are, always find a church and always find something for your hands to do. And so even as a 20-year-old, I went the first Sunday of every place that I went, I found on-base church. And so I was just happy to be able to give back.
Right.
And, that's something that I'm thankful and I'm grateful to God that I was able to pass it on to my children as well. Actually, my youngest, my 20-year-old daughter, she's in the air now. She's headed to her first duty station, which is Camp Carroll, Korea. So she's in the air now.
Is she Army?
She's Army.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Our son is Army too. He's at Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Dr. Cash is Army too. And so is Charles.
Cool. In the Army now.
Yeah, we got the Army on board today.
That's it. One thing, I learned in the Army, it's the people and the relationships that matter the most. And, like, Dr. Cash was saying, it's grateful when you go through something and you find someone else that's gone through that, because you may be feeling like you don't know how you're going to make it through, but here comes this person that tells you you can make it because I made this. I went through the same thing. And so that's a beautiful thing, and that's part of the thing, what we try to do with the youth in North Chicago. And with the literacy program, because what we found there, we have a lot of young kids in North Chicago, and sometimes they may not have assistants at home that can help them with their homework, help them with their reading, or just help them with their thirst for knowledge, or just for their thirst for learning. And so that's why we try to come in and just try to be a little bridge to help those children, and actually any children that come through the library. We offer programs, like we said early, we have story time at the library for the kids. We have a bookmobile that we go through. We go to different events, and children can come into the bus and see the different books, and they can, take 1, 2, 3 books if they like. We have different events during the summer where we have a reading program every week throughout the summer. Usually 3 to 4 days, so children can come in the library anytime. They can read. If they have trouble with reading, we have someone that can help them to read. We'll have people who will read to them, because what we know is that everyone learns differently. And so you have to be able to reach that child where that child is. There isn't a blanket style of learning. Some kids are auditory, some are visual, some are audio visual. Me, if you tell me, I got it. But some kids have to see it. They have to hear it. And so if they're having trouble with hearing, we can able to sit with them and we can read the book, and we can go word for word with them to get them more comfortable with learning and with helping them sound out the words. And so, our literacy program is really, really one of the things that we're really proud of, and we're happy that we're able to help these young people in our community, and it's not only the adults, we have young middle school volunteers. I think we have in some of our pictures, we have some middle school kids that come in and they'll read a book to the younger children. And just to see those, 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds, they're just enthralled seeing, someone who looks like their sister or someone who looks like their brother, just reading to them, and, they're captivated. And that's what we want for all the children. We want for them, when they hear something about it, but we want them to be captivated by it.
Right.
Because books and knowledge, books can take you so many places. My mother told my husband that, when I was growing up, she never had to worry about me not knowing where I was, not knowing what I was doing. She said, I could always find Sonja in her room, in the middle of her bed, surrounded by books.
Oh, wow.
And that's it, because, her and my grandmother gave me a love of reading. I was reading the newspaper at 8, just sitting every day waiting for the newspaper man to come throw the newspaper in the yard. So I could, so I could read the newspaper. My grandmother, she always had a book in her car. She's like, there's a book over there, read that. And, so that just, and because it takes you so many places,
it does.
You hear about a place, and for our children, North Chicago is, it's a socioeconomically challenged city.
Right.
And so some of the kids, they don't know what's beyond their zip code. No one's taking the time to tell them that there's more out there, that, 20 minutes down the road is the city of Chicago, and there's so much, some of them they have no idea that that's available to them.
Right.
So that's what we try to
about
open.
Southside? Is that also an area that you cater to?
Well, we don't, because with the Rotary has, we have different clubs in different every city.
Oh, that's right.
So Chicago has their own Rotary clubs, and
right.
Each town in between has their own Rotary clubs. So, but we're all in one district.
Right.
So those districts, or those, so they participate in our events. They participate in our literacy program, and we participate. If they have something going on, we'll go and help and volunteer them with theirs as well. But it's just getting children to understand, and think beyond where they are, think beyond their apartment complex, think and understand that there's so much more out there that they can do, see, and be. Because again, like I said, children they can read a book about Paris, and then they can, in their minds,
exactly,
that can bring them to say, oh, I can go there.
I always wanted to be Cinderella.
But tell me, you can be a princess.
But I would read, and I love her clothes and her shoes, and now I do a lot of fashion designing because of her. So it's what you read in the books, and you just do whatever you want to be. It is. You can be what you want to be. Yeah. And we also partner with an organization called Cool Learning Experiences. And at Cool Learning Experiences, they learn all about nature. There's a place where they can go, they can see, they can touch the dirt, they can touch the flowers. They learn about photosynthesis. They learn about how all these work. They learn how they work a garden. They have a garden, so they learn the process of planting and how food grows, and how important it is. They also learn about the environment, the environmental impact that certain things that we do have on the planet, so, and it's part of making them complete whole individuals, so that when they grow, as they're growing up, they see something like, oh, there's a better way that we can do this. We can compost, or we can do this. It gives them another thought that they won't get in their community. So that's probably one of the main things that we try to do with our children. And again, we take them on different outings, just so, even to the beach, just a fun day, just something for them to say, I'm learning. So, it's great, and even when they go to the beach, they're still learning, they're able to put their feet in the sand, and let the dirt come up between their toes. And, it's a different feeling, because sometimes, even though the harbor, Lake Michigan, is 2 miles from their apartment, they've never been. Yes. Which is something that's just, that's something that we try to
get as many kids as we possibly can involved in our program, and in partnership with different other organizations that are doing different things with youth. And so we're very, very proud of that. And also another aspect is, again, the videos. So we have a program with our literacy program where any individual, family member, parent, aunt, uncle, co-worker, anyone can make a video of themselves reading a book. And then that video is shown to the children. And then the library, they'll choose certain videos that they want to showcase and put on their website. But the majority of them, they're all the ones that are sent in, they're all shown to the children at some point. And so,
and that makes them feel special at the same time educational. That is so cool.
Absolutely.
It does. And
how many kids usually come together? Is it weekly or every day?
The library has something every week. They have something at least 3 days out of the week, and most Saturdays, at least 2 Saturdays out of the month. They have some type of program, reading program. Just a couple weeks ago, we had a Hispanic program where the kids were able to learn about Hispanic cultures.
Right.
And so, it's something just tying everything that we possibly can into learning to help children just stretch themselves, to stretch their minds.
Yeah, you can go anywhere you want in the book.
Anywhere you want to go. And so we have about 200 kids a week that come through the library.
That was what I was going to ask you next. That's amazing. That's so cool.
It is. And we even have, if the kids are having issues, if there isn't someone at home, what we found is that sometimes there's a parent that may need help somewhere with reading or something. So we have something tailored for the parents or whoever that child is living with, for them to come to the library, and we offer them classes as well. And so, because we want the whole family to know and understand that they can learn also. And it's not, and as they learn, they're able to help their young children to learn even more. So,
and when the parents and the kids come together, is it separately or jointly that they're learning together with what you're offering at the library?
Right, and usually they're separately, because we try to tailor the adults, because mostly it's usually English as a second language. So it's getting them to understand and writing and reading English.
Gotcha.
And reading. And so for right now, but that is something that we will do. And when we have different like community days, different programs, then we have events for the children and their parents.
Right.
That they can do together. And so
that is so precious. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So thank you all for having me. I'm so happy to be here, and I'll be back again. I look forward to it.
Oh yeah, you have to. We have to find a way for you to bring some of them on too. We put a rose up there and different names, but we want to hear the experience that they've gone through your program. And that's another way of letting them know, because it goes out on the radio as well. So they would love that. That's another way of doing it.
It is. It really is. And one more thing I would say really, really quickly.
No, please take your time.
With the Rotary Club, what in this year, what we're planning on doing, or what I'm planning on doing, is creating a veterans Rotary Club, a brand new Rotary Club that's completely veterans. And what that club would do, will focus on veterans issues, whatever those issues in our community where we can see to help the community. That's what we're looking to do. And with this club, unlike our local clubs, this club is e-club. So if anyone from around the world can join in on our meetings, and for whatever projects we may have, if there's a need wherever they are. Let's say we're in Chicago and we have a member who's in North Dakota. So we're doing a service project and that member say, hey, I think I would like to try and do that here. Then we'll work with him or her to do that service project in his community. Because we want to reach, there's so many veterans here where we are, because we have a VA hospital that's right in North Chicago. And so there's so many veterans that still want to do something. They still want to give back. Yes. And so that's what we want to capture, those veterans, and give them an opportunity to reach out to other veterans and help other veterans wherever.
Well, we got to talk, because we got a huge project for them to do down on Dr. Cash.
Hey, yes.
Okay, but I will keep you all updated on that.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
so how do they? So tell me then, how do they get in touch with anyone?
With you.
Because we have to, we have to let our radio listeners know. We put it on the website, but there's no website for radio.
That's true.
So how do they reach you? What's the phone number or a contact person or whatever?
Yeah, they can contact me. I'll give you my email address and my phone number.
Yeah, please.
My email address is qmstr1@gmail.com. So quartermaster, qmstr1@gmail.com.
Okay.
And my phone number is 903-812-1362.
Repeat.
903-812-1362.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we got a lot to do, girlfriend. This is not to, we tend to kidnap people when we like them.
Hey,
So
it's all good working together.
You got to be, we all working for the same cause,
That's right.
So I'm glad you got a lot of information from Ann with her precious Rosies and Dr. Cash and what you've offered, and it can't do nothing but grow. We're so happy to have you on board, and not only are we on YouTube, but in Facebook Live, but now because of God, iHeart and Spotify. So, and we got other channels going too, Apple, somebody, another.
Amen. That's all right.
But I'll let you know. So the word is getting out there. So we got a huge network coming together. So the more people come on, such as you, and showing what you're doing for our veterans and Dr. Cash, and of course, Ann, that doesn't do anything but help those that need us more.
More the merrier.
That's right.
Many hands lighten the load.
That's right, because many people wonder, well, what are you doing? You're not a veteran, but my heart broke when I seen them living in an encampment on the street in wheelchairs. What was I supposed to do? Just walk by them and didn't have nothing to eat or food or water or anything? I mean, it was horrible. And in this rich country.
Told them way back when, in the future, cash is coming.
Say it again.
I said, you should have told them way back when. Hey, in the future, cash is coming.
It was way back when.
I know. I'm just I'm running wild with this cash is coming thing.
Oh, okay. With that, he's so silly. Well, it was way back.
You gotta admit, that's
that was for a decade ago, and I've been on this journey ever since. Some of my I'm not complaining, but what I had to see from a grassroots level. See, we never had the fabulous office and the staff and the whole bit. I had to do it from a grassroots level. It still is grassroots, believe me. But it gave me an awareness firsthand on just how it really is. And it's so sad. There's so much politics involved and homelessness. Like say, for instance, Kevin, when he came home, his story is just heartbreaking. He was homeless for what, 30 years?
20-something years.
Yeah, and he's now a peer counselor, helping our veterans. So he's doing some amazing things. He's really picked himself up, but it was because of people like Dr. Cash and of course you and folks like Charles and them that helped him make it. So we're happy to have him on our board as well. So You're making a difference, and thank you. We want you back, girl. And think about some creative ways of coming back. Like we were talking about that group. You know, we have something similar called Combat Boots and Lace. It's primarily for women and veteran women and men, service members, and we want to broaden it where we include some of the things you're doing and reach out throughout the United States and other parts of the world since we're out there.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So thank you so much. So Moon, you're not going to leave us. Can you stay around for a little bit longer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's on you, Taylor.
William B. Gould, born in Wilmington, North Carolina on November 18th.
You going to tell us who he is?
Say it again?
Tell us who he is first.
So, my previous classes, I took a research methods class, and my professor, his name was William Gould. And he informed us that his grandfather, then great-great-great-grandfather, was a former slave who escaped slavery and went into the Navy, where he was able to get his freedom. And it was pretty interesting. He actually lives in Pasadena. My former teacher, William, he does a lot of activism work and trying to get his grandfather's story out there. And so I thought it was pretty cool, and I brought it up to Connie, and she thought it was a fascinating story. And so I wanted to share it with our viewers and listeners.
Please.
So he was born November 18th, 1837, to an enslaved woman, Elizabeth Betsy Moore, and Alexander Gould, an English-born resident of Granville County, North Carolina. He was enslaved by Nicholas Nixon, a peanut planter who owned a large plantation site on Porter's Neck and at Rocky Point. Gould worked as a plasterer at the Annabellum Bellamy mansion in Wilmington, North Carolina, and carved his initials into some of the plaster there. And I'm sure if I were to go back, it's still there. The outbreak of the Civil War brought danger to Wilmington in the form of crime, disease, threats of invasion, and downright bawdiness that prompted many slave owners to move inland, resulting in less supervision over those who were enslaving. During a rainy night on September 21st, 1862, Gould escaped with 7 other enslaved men by rowing a small boat 28 nautical miles, which is 52 kilometers down the Cape Fear River. They embarked on Orange Street, just 4 blocks from where Gould lived on Chestnut Street. Sentries were posted along the river, adding additional danger. The boat had a sail, but they did not raise it until they were out in the Atlantic for fear of being seen. Just as the dawn was breaking on September 22nd, they rushed into the Atlantic Ocean near Fort Caswell and hoisted their sail. There, the USS Cambridge of the Union blockade picked them up as contraband. Other ships in the blockade picked up 2 other boats containing friends of Gould in what may have been a coordinated effort. Though Gould had no way of knowing it, within an hour and a half of his rescue, President Abraham Lincoln convened a meeting of his cabinet to finalize plans to issue the Emancipation Proclamation. During the war, his home was burned, and with it, a family Bible. His birthday was inscribed in that Bible, but that was the only record of his birth. There had been some concerns about the number of slaves who were escaping and making it into the Union ships before Gould's escape. One captain had written to the Navy Department asking what was to be done with them as they did not have room for the extra men. William A. Parker, the captain of the Cambridge, however, had written an acting Rear Admiral Samuel Phillips Lee just 5 days before picking up Gould that his ship was short 18 men due to desertions and sickness. As a result, he said, he intended to fill the vacancies, with escaped slaves. After his boarding the Cambridge, Gould notes that he was kindly received by officers and men. On October 3rd, 1862, he took the oath of allegiance to the government of Uncle Sam. Upon joining the U.S. Navy on board the Cambridge, he was given the rank of first class boy. At the time, boy was the highest rank a Black soldier or Black sailor could earn. He was later promoted to landsman and then wardroom steward, making him a petty officer, but without the authority that came as an officer of the line. That's interesting. Gould found the work to be difficult and lonely, and after just 3 months on the ship, he and all the other men had the blues. Still, Gould believed he was defending the holiest of all causes, liberty and union. During his service, he saw combat and chased Confederate ships across the Atlantic to Europe. In a span of 5 days, the Cambridge and 2 other ships were able to capture 4 blockade runners and chase the 5th to shore. Gould also served on the USS Ohio, and while on board, he came down with the measles, and he had to leave the ship to go to the hospital. His time in the hospital from May to October 1863 was the only time he broke from his habit of writing in his diary. In October 1863, after he recovered, Gould was transferred to the USS Niagara, a ship that was in port in Gloucester, Massachusetts, waiting for a full complement of men. Although Black men served alongside white men in the Navy during the Civil War and made up roughly 15% of the Union Navy, Gould experienced racism while serving on board the USS Cambridge, and other Black soldiers from a Maryland regiment who had been taken aboard temporarily were treated shamefully. They were not allowed to eat out of the mess pans and were called disparaging names. The incident seemed to be out of the ordinary, suggesting that it was not common while serving. Gould visited Wilmington after the war, perhaps in October of 1865, and found it to be largely deserted, very unlikely the bustling city he knew before the war. He found it to be an improvement, however, where many of the trappings of the former slave economy had been removed. Gould married in 1865 and spent his first years as a married man working as a plasterer. After living in New Hampshire and Taunton, Massachusetts for a time, in 1871, the Goulds moved to 303/307 Milton Street in Dedham, Massachusetts, where he became a building contractor and pillar of the community. He took great pride in his work as a plasterer and brick mason. His skill was rewarded with contracts from public buildings, including several schools. Gould died on May 25th, 1923, at the age of 85, and was interred at Brookdale Cemetery in Dedham. The New York Times published an obituary about Gould on June 17, 2022, as part of Overlooked, a series of obituaries about remarkable people whose deaths, beginning in 1851, went unreported in the Times. Gould's diary was discovered 35 years after his death in 1958, when his attic was being cleaned out. And this is his grandson, William B. Gould III, showed it to his son, William B. Gould IV, at the time. They had known that Gould served in the Navy during the Civil War, but not if he had been enslaved or free prior to his service. Gould IV began researching his ancestors' life, a process that would last more than 50 years. While teaching in Harvard in 1970s, Gould IV researched his namesake's life in nearby Dedham. When he served as the chairman of the National Labor Relations Board under President Bill Clinton in 1990s, he searched the National Archives. It was only in 1989 that Gould IV discovered his ancestor had been enslaved prior to the war and found a notation in a log of the Cambridge that noted Gould had been picked up as contraband and listed the name of his enslaver. Gould IV went on to edit his grandfather's diary and published it as a book titled Diary of a Contraband, the Civil War Passage of a Black Sailor. He donated the original diary to the Massachusetts Historical Society in 2006. The foreword to the published edition was written by United States Senator Mark O. Hatfield. According to Hatfield, Gould's outstanding life in Dedham, Massachusetts, following the war exemplifies American citizenship at its best, and African American citizenship at its best too. That burned brightly because our nation transcended the inhumanity of slavery. Gould's diary was featured on the July 3rd, 2001 edition of Nightline, and in 2020, the Episcopal Diocese of Massachusetts donated copies of the book to local schools and libraries. On November 9, 2020, the town of Dedham renamed a 1.3-acre park as the William B. Gould Memorial Park. The park, located on Mother Brook, is about half a mile from Gould's home on Milton Street and was formally dedicated on September 23rd, 2021, before a crowd of more than 100. A sign with Gould's name and image was unveiled by his great-great-great-grandson and then blessed by the former rector of the Church of the Good Shepherd. And so there he is, Mr. Gould.
Is this a statue?
That is the statue, I believe. And there may be an additional picture.
That's the one I have.
Let me see. You can type in Google and his picture will come up in images. William Gould.
Let's see here.
And my professor looks exactly like him. Scary.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Yeah, but I just found his story to be very interesting and inspirational. Actually knowing that his grandfather was former slave, and then to overcome that and become, a service member.
Have him as a teacher. It's a great.
Yeah, which I was like, interesting.
Where is he? Where was that, at the university or where? What?
What do you mean?
Where was he teaching? Where'd you go?
Oh, USC. So he was my former teacher from last semester.
Him?
Yes, the one with the There he is with the
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. All right. Well.
Nope, not him. Not him.
We saw him already.
There he is.
Not him.
Not him. That's him.
That's the great and this is.
So he must have been like the fifth generation, and then William the fourth was my professor's father.
So this guy right here.
So he was the fifth, and then the fourth was my professor's father, and then or the third. Third, and something like that. But I just thought it was really cool.
Hopefully we can have some good news about him. We don't want to talk too soon, but we're working on it.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you all think of that? Wasn't that amazing what he's gone through, what he accomplished? I think it's just tremendous. We have to acknowledge those that have made contributions in society, because some of us have been overlooked and forgotten, But coming right along here, we're winding down. Charles, you got something to say.
Oh, do I? Let me see. This is about disabled veterans, a guide to discrimination, other barriers, and resources. Disabled veterans or those veterans who are facing debilitating illnesses or injury post-combat face great challenges when they return home. Challenges beyond the scope of their injuries, believe it or not. These could include barriers to adequate treatment, discrimination in the civilian world, lack of access to resources, and more. In the United States in 2020, there were 4.7 million veterans with a service-connected disability or a debilitating injury that occurred during their active duty service, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Yet, in 2021, only 3.9 million veterans received disability compensation payments from the Department of Veterans Affairs, according to the United States Census Bureau. Believe me, I know that well. Why the disparity in the number of disabled veterans and the number who receive compensation for their injuries? While veterans with debilitating injuries are allowed to seek compensation for their injuries and expenses, the injuries will inevitably incur, the VA assigns a disability rating to wounded veterans to determine compensation benefits. Veterans with at least a 30% rating, for example, may receive disability benefits as well as additional pay for dependents, including spouses and minor children, or adult children between the ages of 18 to 23 who are seeking higher education. Payments are dependent on several qualifying factors, including number of children. In short, not all debilitating injuries qualify a veteran to receive additional compensation on top of their VA benefits. This can make it difficult for veterans and their families to make ends meet. Many wounded veterans must spend weeks or months in a medical center after returning home, and both medical expenses and home expenses can quickly mount. And on top of these struggles, wounded veterans may face barriers during the transition phase when they aim to return to daily life after the initial recovery period. Many catastrophic injuries can make it difficult for vets to perform daily tasks, get around in their home, or in some cases, care for themselves or their loved ones. Veterans who have experienced a long-term or life-changing disability need a hand up, not a handout. Indeed, they require accessible living arrangements, access to jobs that not only accept but are excited to hire veterans who are differently abled, I should say, and labeled too, and financial assistance so they are able to restore their finance and personal independence once more. Here, you will learn why veterans may have trouble accessing the care and resources they need and where to find the resources to bridge this gap. The scope of disabled veterans in the United States. This is what here's the big thing. According to the VA, the veteran population has been decreasing since 1990, yet the number of veterans with a service-connected disability has steadily increased. I wonder why. A 117% increase between 1990 and 2008. That's how big it has been. The VA also reports that the number of cash payments from the VA to veterans is outpacing the number of reported injured veterans. Here's what's important to know regarding the number of veterans and disabled veterans in the United States. And it said why disabled veterans experience lack of appropriate resources. I don't even need to read this one to tell you what it is, but I'm gonna do it anyway. In a survey conducted by the Pew Research Center in 2019, half of all veteran respondents reported that they felt the VA was either doing only a fair or poor job. Only 9% of the veteran respondents said they felt the VA was doing an excellent job, and 37% felt that the VA was doing a good job at administering support and benefits to veterans and their families. All those numbers are way too low. The VA alone cannot be blamed for the lack of resources for disabled veterans. Yet, this first line of defense for veterans wounded in combat appears to be lacking the scope of resources necessary to provide adequate support to the ever-growing number of service-connected injured veterans. As mentioned above, the VA reports that it is already paying out high amounts of cash payments to veterans. What do they care? That's me saying this. More than ever before, because hey, it's true. More than ever before, even as the overall number of veterans declines. If the VA is paying out disability benefits at such high rates, why then are so many disabled veterans lacking in resources to help them achieve the care they need to carry on with daily life? While some believe that the VA has become too generous with its payment, oh really? Come on now. Let's say that again. And the truth, the VA is recognizing the vast scope of injuries combat can cause. For example, sleep apnea is a condition that a veteran may experience post-combat, a condition that not only affects their sleep quality but their safety during sleep. This condition may affect the veteran long term, disrupt their daily life, including the ability to perform daily tasks due to lack of proper sleep. It may require costly sleep apnea masks to treat and result in other effects. Because of these vast effects, this is one condition the VA could deem a debilitating injury and may grant a veteran with such a condition compensation to assist with related expenses. Problem with that. but I ain't gonna talk about that yet. The sheer scope of conditions which may affect veterans long term due to their time served as active duty military members may mean that the VA will be ill equipped to financially support all disabled veterans long term. Veterans with disabilities which are not 100% debilitating may need to find financial support and other resources elsewhere, and that's a shame. That's me saying that too. The VA should always be a veteran's first stop for support, especially financial support. But uh, for those who find the VA comes up short in helping them with all of their needs, other resources exist which can provide a number of types of aid, from aid with medical care to adapt equipment free of charge to recreational output. And basically, it's a shame. Now you can call for a free case evaluation to call the VA at 866-393-4334. Again, that's 866-393-4334. Now, let's talk about it. Because, I know the VA, that's a slap in a veteran's face to say that, oh, we paying out too much. You didn't say that when they had to go to war or sign up. It wasn't too much then. We give aid to other countries that aren't even third world. We give aid to them all the time. So to put a number on it like that, that's ridiculous.
That's terrible.
So
don't make no sense.
I mean, and the VA's way of treating disabled veterans is you can go to war, have your legs shot off, and go to file for disability, and they're gonna deny you the first time, regardless of who you are, what you have, or and that just needs to be done away with. That's ridiculous. It's a disrespect, to our veterans, and just the people who the administrative, and some of that goes on Congress and all of that. They're sitting up in their plush, homes and all of this stuff. But the people who fight for the freedom of this country are treated as though they're, hey, you want a handout, and that's just wrong. There's so many things that's wrong with the VA. We could be sitting here talking till next week. We still wouldn't be finished.
Dr. Cash or Sonja, y'all got any feedback?
Yeah, no, that's what Charles was saying is true, because we just have to think of Agent Orange. For so many decades, those people suffered and the government denied all this. And now, it's a few years and now they want to say, oh yeah, the Agent Orange, that's compensable for the VA now. But what are all those that lived and died and were trying to get those benefits, and the government say, no, that's not true. That didn't cause any. It's horrible. It was horrible, because my uncle was one of those. He was denied, and you could physically see what it had done to him. And it's just, and it still continues.
It does. My father was one of them. My father was fighting that whole Agent Orange thing because he was in Vietnam, for the longest, and they denied him. I mean, years and years and years,
Yeah, that even my uncle, not only Agent Orange, he got hooked on heroin in Vietnam, and so when he came home, there was no help, nothing. There was no, and so it's just, it's just.
Yeah, they do. They give you it's your fault for being addicted, or it's like but see, in the military they promote drinking and drugs and all of that stuff. When you're out and about with they don't
cigarettes used to come in the meal
legally.
packets. Yeah, cigarettes used to come in the meal packets.
So many veterans now won't file their claim because, oh, my buddy filed and he got denied. I don't want to go through that.
Right.
So they'll rather stay and deal with the circumstances of their illnesses, and not go because they don't want to be denied, knowing full well that I actually talked to a guy this morning after I got out of church. I talked to a veteran this morning. Every time I talk to a veteran, are you claiming your benefits? Well, no, cuz I did this and I did that, and then I did this whole write-up and it looked good to me. It told exactly what happened, and then they denied me. and then I resubmitted and I ain't heard nothing from them.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so
Story.
Yeah, Anne's got her hand up as
Ann?
well.
I'm really interested in your all's opinion on this. I'm hearing constantly that people are not coming into the military anymore, and that the military is as low as it's been in terms of people volunteering or joining the military. Do you think it's because young people are now realizing that there's overall problems within the VA, or why are people not going into the military anymore in the same percentage they used to?
Well, I'll answer that first. Only what I can. I don't have any hard facts, but part of it is, they've seen the people that come back.
Yeah.
They come back and they're all, their heads are all messed up. And then you don't have the support that you
right.
would, that the government is not, but they don't stand behind you. And so over the time, people get wise up. They say, well, it used to be, you go into the military, you come back, and you would thought that you would have help, but it's not. That's not doesn't always true.
Basically, the truth is out. That's basically.
Yeah, and yes, and in big cities like here in LA, it's a shame you go downtown, and that's where kind of you saw all those disabled vets, and Skid Row is just full of them. You
Yeah,
know, they're not out in some freezing weather city sitting outside. Some of them are, but they see it, and then it's like boom. It's like, oh, do I
I
really want to
think
be
people
part of
used
this?
to join the military not only for education, but also for the glory, the
Hmm.
prestige that they could always, like if somebody didn't join the military, you wouldn't vote for them. That was the way it was for years. But
Yes.
people don't see that anymore, and especially after Iraq and Afghanistan, they just don't
right.
see it.
And,
Yeah, there's no trust in
and
the
then
government.
yeah, they can't. And then here's another part of it too, especially I would say in the last 15, 20 years on. I'm not just gonna say the last four. The politics fly too much. Politics is a big part of military. And when you can't get two political parties to decide, one will deny veterans something because it's the thing to do because they may end up trying to get power back, and it doesn't become, a while back, you way back when, they used to work together no matter what when it came to the country. But now
Right.
we're split. They're split on it.
No,
Everything's about who can be in power. And it isn't about trying to do the right thing because just recently they had all kinds of bills and things that weren't passed because one party said, "Oh no, we don't want to do this
Right.
because that'll make that party look better," and vice versa. It just the politics is 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 is,
Crazy.
is ramped
Well,
up as ridiculous.
I sure thank you guys for all this phenomenal information. I love these dialogues, but you can't do anything but learn from them.
That's
And
it.
it's sad how they're being treated. I hear this story all the time, and we do what we can, keep on doing it in the name of God.
Keep on trucking. You almost said that. Keep on
Okay,
trucking.
moving right along, Charles. You
Yeah.
finishing up for us.
Folks, I've got a visitor now staying
Okay,
at
and
us.
thank
So
you.
I'm going to say goodbye and thank you
All
so
right,
much.
Ann. Thank you. You take
See you in a
care.
couple of
Love
weeks.
you all. Look,
Bye. Nice meeting you.
I'll give you a West Virginia goodbye. Love y'all.
All right.
Okay, see.
All right now.
Thanks a
Take
lot.
me
Bye now.
home
Bye now.
to the place.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
West Virginia. All right, then. So, all right. Guess it's time for hot news. The hot
Yes, time for
news.
your hot news.
Hot news. The hot news is about it's like the sun with hot sauce on it. It's hot and it's flavorful. Louisiana hot sauce, not that other stuff. But anyway, I'm just going to talk about Operation Confidence and its employment partner with Amazon. I'm not going to go through and list everything, but I'll talk about, there are a list of job opportunities now hiring at the following locations. You can go to Santa Clarita, Simi Valley, Chatsworth, Valencia, Burbank, Camarillo. They have the Los Angeles delivery station, the Gardena delivery station, the Huntington Beach delivery station, and at all of these different places, they have the roles of sortation associates. They have your job description will be your sort, scan, and load customers' orders to fulfill the same day and 2-day shipping delivery time. They have flex time and reduced time. They have, just there's a lot of jobs. And if you are interested, go to their hiring reps websites. It's amazon.com/hourly jobs near me, amazon.com/student hourly jobs. Military, they have amazon.com/military jobs. And for all abilities, they have amazon.com/PWD hourly jobs. And that's PWD hourly jobs. Don't forget, applications are live now and fill up quickly. So they are asked, where you're asked to everyone in need of a job here in LA to have your candidates to send in as soon as possible if you're a candidate. And I would suggest that candidates also text Amazon to 77088 in order to be alerted when more applications are open. That's Amazon to 77088 in order to be alerted when more applications open. And for the contact person, call. Her name is Crystal Martinez. She's the staffing coordinator at the LAX North Workforce Staffing. And her email is M as in Mary, M as in Mary, C as Charles, RYSTA. That's MMCRYSTA at Amazon.com. And you can also, again, I'll repeat this. If you're ready to work, visit Amazon.com/PWD hourly jobs. And for job alerts, text Amazon to 77088.
You know what, Charles? A few other locations came in yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they have jobs are available at Amazon in the City of Industry,
Okay.
Palmdale, Santa
All right.
Clarita, Vernon, Los Angeles. And that contact person is Ricardo Fierro, F-I-E-R-R-O Jr. That's Ricardo, and last name F-I-E-R-R-O, and he's a junior. And his email address is ricferr@amazon.com. Once again, he's a staff coordinator, and his email address is ricferr and at amazon.com. So at least those are some good information for you. And also, as Charles already said, for job alerts, text Amazon is 77088. 77088. Okay, Charles, take it away with your funny clip before we wind down.
All right, yeah, we got to get the animals. I like to do a little animal funny here, kind of loosen up the situation a little bit. Let's see what we got here. What am I? All right, let me pull this up. Too bad you radio people can't see this, because y'all be like, oh, okay, yeah. So here we go.
Go! Man, where are you taking us, bro? Bertram, relax, man. Just relax. Man, I ain't going for the okie doke no more. You got us out here fine. Yeah, huh? Everybody following you blindly, man. I don't know where we at, man. We've been following you for months and we get nowhere. Now you got us out here in the middle of the street. Bertram, no, Bertram. Call yourself a shepherd. You got us out here in the middle of the street. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. We don't need no out here. Let's just go.
Slow down, sir. Slow down, sir.
He's so funny. He always got something silly to show us.
That was funny.
Okay, so Taylor, sign us on out, girlfriend.
Before Miss Connie closes the show, I would like to remind our viewers and listeners about our amazing advertisement rates. We have 20 and 30-second advertisement slots available. please email info@operationconfidence.org. Again, info@operationconfidence.org for more information, and visit Operation Confidence's website at www.operationconfidence.org and visit our resource page for some amazing resources. I would also like to inform our viewers and listeners about Amazon Smile. When making your next purchase on Amazon, please go to Amazon Smile and type in Operation Confidence in the Choose Your Organization donation box. Amazon will make a small donation to Operation Confidence. And to get involved in Operation Confidence Tiny Houses project, visit our website and send us a message on how you would like to be involved. And lastly, to our viewers and listeners, I would like to inform you about Operation Confidence Positive Redirection Team, which is a group of male and female veterans who are mentors having overcome similar challenges and situations transitioning back into mainstream society. To be connected or become a team member, email us at info@operationconfidence.org. And we are also excited to inform our viewers and listeners about Operation Confidence Combat Boots and Lace Women Veterans Mentoring and Creative Arts Group. Zoom meetings will take place the first Saturday of the month. And to get involved, please email info@operationconfidence.org.
Okay, and as always, we want to remind our viewers that our goal for the show is to raise awareness about Operation Confidence mission, which is to provide stable housing with a wide range of supportive services, including employment opportunities for our disabled vets. And so to get involved with our grassroots efforts, please send us an email at info@operationconfidence.org. That's info@operationconfidence.org. And don't forget to subscribe to our American Invisible Heroes YouTube page. Last year we joined, and to date we have over 70,000 views. We want to go all the way up to 1 million soon, so don't forget to subscribe. And then lastly, we're proud to inform our listeners and our viewers that American Invisible Heroes is also on the Block 105 satellite radio. And we are now, as of yesterday, the Block satellites on each Saturday. We have Saturday shows, and that's from 10 to 12. And then we're on now Spotify and iHeart. So we're getting there, guys. We just a little bit more, we'll be all over the place. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I want to be able to thank our guests. You guys were amazing. And all that informative information, and we're just going to pray to keep us going and tell God to continue helping us to make a major difference. So I want to thank you. We're going to sign out. You ready, Charles?
I'm ready like Freddie Rocksteady. Let's do this.
Bye, everybody.
All right, y'all.
Bye. Thank you all.
Take care. Be safe.
That's right.
Oh, I got to do that, Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I got to, we getting ready to hit it, so.
Okay, you're going to hit it. You ready to hit it?
Ready to hit it.